Wow, it is great to have you all here tonight. So let me just reiterate, thank you for coming to join this conversation tonight about fines and fees in our community and what that looks like. As Christina mentioned, we've listened to our circle leaders and specifically how they've been directly impacted by fines and fees in very significant ways in their lives. And we knew that we needed to learn more about the system, how things work, something maybe some of us haven't experienced, to gain understanding, and then to hopefully be able to identify barriers that we could remove. So I've learned a lot in the research process that I didn't know. It's been a humbling experience for sure. And I'm hopeful that sharing some of those things that I learned with you tonight will actually be helpful for you as well. As a starting point for our discussion, I'd love for us to just begin by defining fines and fees. I didn't know the difference. I just knew we paid them. Specifically, fines are monetary punishments for infractions, misdemeanors, or felonies. And fines are specifically intended to deter crime and to punish a violator. Fines are determined by our Arkansas Code, which is law that we agree to, and there are minimums and maximums, so a range that you can be charged for a violation based on this Arkansas Code. Fines are paid to local, state, or federal agencies who are prosecuting the crime. On the other hand, fees are payments for court activities or for being supervised or incarcerated, and those fees are charged to the violator, a person who's been found guilty of those infractions. These are intended to specifically support the work or finance the operational cost of the criminal justice system. So we pass fees along. As I thought about my own experience, I remembered I have paid some fines and fees myself for a traffic violation. I have a tendency to drive a little faster than the city of Fayetteville thinks is a good idea. And I'm going to go out on a limb and imagine that I'm probably not the only person in the room tonight who's ever done that. So in visiting with my friend and circle leader, Shalitha, I realized that our experiences in both getting a traffic violation and then how we had to resolve that traffic violation were markedly different. So tonight, as a way of kind of explaining this research and kind of how the system works, I'd love to walk us through an example of what that can look like for a person A and a person B. And just specifically, those people having varying financial means, what that looks like. So person A and person B both get pulled over. They're going 12 miles per hour over the speed limit in a bit of a rush. And they also have a tail light out on their vehicle. And so a City of Fayetteville police officer pulls them over, of course, asks for proof of insurance and vehicle registration, and ends up issuing a citation for the two violations. One is for speeding and one is for the taillight being out. Both people, as directed, call the district court to find out how much these violations will cost them in fines and fees. So just quickly, because of those ranges, we've chosen in the middle range tonight. Both a speeding ticket and having a taillight out can go from $0 to $100. For our example tonight, we chose to choose right in the middle. So it's a $50 fine for speeding, a $50 fine for a taillight out, and then for every single infraction or violation or ticket, the court goes ahead and adds a $75 flat fee as a court fee on every violation, and then additionally the county goes ahead and pops on their $25 fee as well. So at the end of this, we have $100 in fines, which are what are intended to deter me from driving too fast or keeping my taillights working. And then another $100 in just fees to process organizationally this violation. So we're all supposed to pay that really immediately or as before our court dates. We get set, and there's a date set by the court that you need to either have paid or appear before the judge. So we'll start with person A. We'll look at how this plays out. The road really splits here. Person A, although very frustrated by and probably put out by having to pay $200 for these infractions, thankfully does have $200 available and is able to do it. And so that person may go down to the courthouse on their lunch break. They likely have maybe a salaried position where they get a lunch break. The court's open Monday through Friday, only 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., so just really during business hours. And this person is able to pay the fine in full, the fines and fees in full. And really, this is the end of the road. Done deal. Person A moves on with their life with no further interruptions. As we looked at person B, they don't have $200 available. And this is, for many people, this is the case. No $200 laying around. And so the only option is to actually go to court, to the stated court date. And so realizing that they'll have to go appear before the judge on the stated date on the citation, which is not chosen by them, they have to go ahead and take off work for the day. And the reason you have to take off the whole day of work is anytime you have to go appear before the judge, you just get a date. You're expected, all parties that day are expected to show up when court begins, and you just wait your turn until your name is called. And so this means you could be called at 8 in the morning or you could be called at 2:30 in the afternoon. You just wait. So by taking time to attend court, which person B is only having to do because they didn't have $200 accessible, they've now lost wages that day of about $88. And that's just assuming that they're making minimum wage in Arkansas, which is $11 an hour. And they were planning to work 8 hours that day. So we've already lost income over just having to attend court. And the impacts here for person B are just beginning to stack up. At court, person B tells the judge, I'm just not able to pay. It's financial hardship. It's just a really hard time right now. I don't have $200. These people, all of us, have to maintain housing, maintain our car insurance, have fuel to get us to and from our jobs, carry our kids around to where they need to go, of course, feed and clothe our family. And so there's just not a lot of money left over. Often, almost never, when we're working minimum wage jobs and working 40 hours a week, the monthly income for a person doing that is only $1,760 to pay for all of life's expenses, be that for a single person, or an individual, or a family. This $200 charge in fines and fees actually represents 11.4% of that person's monthly income. That's a significant financial hardship. So, since person B has told the judge they can't pay, the judge offers a payment plan. And the minimum payment that is accepted by our district court is $25 a month on a payment plan. So with a $200 fine, it'll take 8 months for this person to pay for their traffic violation. But when offered the payment plan, and if you take them up on the payment plan, the court says, we're glad to help you with that, but every month that you're on the payment plan, making on-time payments as directed by the court at $25 a month, they'll just go ahead and tack on another $10 fee for every month that you maintain a balance with the court. And so you quickly can do math on this to figure out that now that's $130 of additional fees. If I make payments on time, every time, I've added another $130 of fees just for being on the payment plan. That's not for missing any payments, that's for doing just as we agreed. So now person B is going to spend 14 months on this plan, making payments. For over a year, this person is spending 2.5 hours of their work every month just to pay the court a fee. Let's remember that these violations that we're talking about are things that for many of us, we've probably received a warning before. But this is becoming an even heavier financial hardship for this person. This financial hardship has high potential to affect many other monthly payments, like paying rent late, or having utilities cut off, or lapsing car insurance, or food scarcity. And any one of these things can bring on an entire new set of fees and fines associated, getting further and further behind. So as we take a step back and just look back at our road and how the roads diverge here, and from all these details, we can see that one person had $200 available and only pays that $200 using a lunch break provided during court hours. So a small inconvenience, but they were able to solve the issue with a really quick trip to the court or to the clerk to make a payment drop off. The other person actually ends up paying 65% more, or $130 more, for a total of $330 in fines and fees. And let's remember, these are the same citations. Both people were going over the speed limit and both had a tail light out. I think it's really important to just pause and note here that the single difference between these people was ability to pay or financial means. That's the only difference. But their experiences with fines and fees were vastly different, from the time they spent working to solve the problem, to loss of income, making it even more challenging, and then finally, an actual cost to them, $200 versus $330. These are markedly different experiences. It's not all equal. Person B has truly experienced the stacking or domino effect of poverty. I want to just touch on a few additional things that can happen when we're struggling to pay fines and fees. Failure to pay is its own citation. So that's if you miss payments to the court, you can be charged with failure to pay. And that results in, as you can imagine, additional charges. So a warrant can be issued for your arrest. And if a warrant is issued for your arrest, imagine that there's a fee associated that'll be charged back to you. Of course, that often will land you in jail, where you will stay until you can bond out. A driver's license can be suspended for failure to pay as well. So that means you're no longer able to legally drive until all of your fines or fees are paid. Nationally, 40% of our driver's license suspensions are from failure to pay. That's a significant amount. Obviously, without having a driver's license or being able to drive legally, more significant hardship, hard to get to work, hard to take care of a family when I can't drive legally. Once all the fines and fees are paid and I'm ready to have my license reinstated, the court's ready to do that for a $150 reinstatement fee for your license. As fines and fees continue stacking, and that's exactly what they do in these situations between failure to pay, failure to appear, late payment fees, payment plan fees, the road really leads all the time to jail time, to eventually just being put in jail. And if you get there, you have the option to work off your fines and fees to the tune of sitting in jail for $40 of credit per day at the Washington County Jail. Judges in Arkansas have a significant amount of power and discretion, as we talked about the code, minimums and maximums, in terms of what they choose to sentence each violation with. For example, a judge has the power to require public service, or to allow you to do public service to, again, kind of work off those fines and fees at a rate of $15 per hour. And although I'd like to say I'm appreciative of that plan, the reality is for many people with limited financial means, they also don't have a lot of time to go volunteer between the hours of 8 and 5 at a local nonprofit. And so although this is an option, it's very inaccessible. One last note to share with you on fines and fees in our city of Fayetteville. So last night, the city council met and they were expected to approve the 2022 budget for our city. It did get tabled till December 7th, but they've worked on it quite a long time at this point, so it's pretty final. The city of Fayetteville is currently projecting 1.5% of their general operating revenue to come from fines and fees from our community members. Specifically, the city of Fayetteville believes that our community members will pay $853,000 in 2022 in fines and fees for some of the violations that we've talked about here tonight. Our city currently has a system that depends on this funding through fines and fees to literally operate our city. I hope tonight there are a couple of things that you'll consider. I know I kind of probably threw a lot at you, but thanks for taking time to listen and to be here.